Hey, welcome everybody. We're in our last week together. Um, for some of you, this is probably pretty relieving because it's been a challenging course, not because of the subject content itself, but just having a small class and the ability to interact on an in-depth, engaging level with the discussions. But you guys have done really pretty good there. It's difficult, I know that, and I struggle with some of those same challenges, but you guys have done really good. Written assignments overall are really good as well, so kudos on that. I know my my own experience, having been in a similar program when I went through my undergraduate degree, it was kind of a challenge sometimes to assimilate all the information that you get in such a short period of time. The nice part is you're learning more than you realize, and a lot of you are able to apply this in a setting now, which is even better. And I was pretty fortunate in that respect as well. There was a lot of what I was picking up in my various classes that I could apply immediately, which is helpful. And probably one of the benefits of these type degree programs is that they're designed for working adults. So good work on that. But as we launch into our last week, and you can see on the screen, we've got two topics. We're talking about labor relations and then the OSHA Act. Labor relations, there's a little bit of a distinction there. Sometimes you'll hear the term employee relations, and then sometimes you'll hear labor relations. It's important to note that when you hear employee relations, they're talking about the broad umbrella of employment. All employees, exempt, non-exempt, to some degree even to independent contractors, depending on the culture of your organization, unionized, non-unionized, whereas labor relations is more distinctly unionized employees. So you're generally dealing with the union leadership, you're working on the collective bargaining agreements or other employment agreements that are in place and influence how the employment partnership works. So there's a distinction there. So this week we're going to focus more on employee relations. Certainly the National Labor Relations Act is kind of the act or the formal employment law that's going to influence a lot of that. But there's the other organization, the National Labor Relations Board, which helps interpret that and apply those things, and administers a lot of the high-level unionization items in the workplace. So we'll get into that a little bit more. The second part is OSHA, or the Occupational Safety and Health Act. It's probably one of the newer federal employment laws. I believe it was in the mid to late 70s when it came into being. And it's interesting because the Occupational Safety and Health Administration has the same initials as the ACT acronym. And of course, they cover everything workplace safety. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as an organization as well as the federal employment law. Because, trust me, both of these topics have far-reaching impacts in the workplace, even though you don't believe you may be directly involved. For example, when we talk about labor relations, let's assume that you have a group of employees that are having a group text, and they're talking about their evaluation, and perhaps, by golly, I don't feel like I got a fair evaluation because Bob, my supervisor, doesn't know what I really do, and I only got a 2% on my raise. So you want to squash that because Bob, these employees shouldn't be talking about it. Actually, you can't. It's considered a concerted activity, and as a concerted activity, that's protected under the National Labor Relations Act. Even though those employees are not unionized, they are protected in that concerted activity. So things that come up that even apply to non-unionized shops that as an HR person or a manager you need to be aware of. Safety is a little more straightforward. It's pretty obvious that there's things you have to do, such as if an employee works in a potentially position where they might be exposed to bloodborne pathogens, you have to provide them PPE, and it has to meet certain standards. Now, appearance is not one of them, and that was one of the things when I've worked at a number of EMS organizations. The eyewear was not super stylish, but it did meet the ANSI and NIOSH standards for bloodborne pathogen eyewear protection. And people would complain, well, this is not very good looking. Well, that's great. It's affordable, and it meets the standard. If you don't like it, you're welcome to buy your own. So there's things that we need to know as an employment manager. So 2 discussion questions that we're talking about this week, and then the second one is our part 2 of our mastery assignment that you'll need to be getting submitted, which is actually the presentation. I will tell you, do not put your documents, so don't copy and paste large chunks of your paper and put it on a PowerPoint slide. That's called a slidegement. I don't want to have to read it. I want you to present the information to me, the audience. So use bullet points. Now you can put in the speaker's notes information that's helpful, but really use bullet points so I know where the presentation is going and the topic is, and then present the information to me as it's nothing worse than somebody putting a Word document in a PowerPoint slide, and then worse, you sit there and try and read it to me. That drives an audience completely crazy. So please don't do that. Some other pointers, if possible, I really like to see faces in the video. That isn't always possible, and I understand that, but that's always beneficial if you can. So remember your background. Had one student that was nice enough to do their video, but the background had some inappropriate stuff for a professional presentation. I'm not sure how their team didn't catch that and say, dude, you should really take down that poster or whatever, or turn your camera so the audience can't see what that girl, things of that nature. So keep it to the point, but certainly give us the information that we need, and make sure that whatever recording medium, be it Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Stream, ScreenPal, which is a product I use, whatever format you use, I'm able to view. Invariably, you'll get a security setting on your Microsoft Teams video in which you don't have permission. So check your college email this week. If you don't check it very often, I understand, but this is the week to check it, because if I can't see it or I have issues accessing it, I will send an email to your college email. And you certainly want to make sure that you're able to check that and adjust it, because I want to be able to make sure we get it graded. Because if I can't see it, I can't grade it. And after the class closes out, you'll get a 0 for it, and that will definitely impact your grade, and that's not good either. So with that in mind, I'm gonna close out and be timely. Hope everybody has a great week, and I really have enjoyed having you in this class. So if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you in the classroom. Thanks.